Shiva is one of the most important gods in the Hindu pantheon, and along with Brahma the creator, and Vishnu the protector, is considered a member of the Holy Trinity of Hinduism. Shiva is regarded as the supreme being, responsible for creation, destruction, and everything in between. He is the destructive form of Almighty. As the cycle of destruction and recreation is always in circle, Shiva's primary responsibility is maintaining life cycle. In Hinduism, the universe is thought to regenerate in cycles. Shiva destroys the universe at the end of each cycle, which then allows for a new creation. As Mahakal, Shiva destroys and dissolves everything into nothingness, but as Shankara, he also reproduces that which has been destroyed and dissolved. Together with Brahma and Vishnu, these lords symbolizes nature's rules, which is everything that is created, is eventually destroyed. According to the legend, Lord Shiva originated from Rudra, who was very fierce. The word Rudra means the roarer, and is associated with wind or storm. Many believe that God Shiva is a Swayambhu, which means he is not born from a human body. He was created automatically. He was there when there was nothing, and he will remain even after everything is destroyed. There is very interesting story behind the birth of Lord Shiva. One day Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu were both arguing about their powers. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a blazing pillar appeared. The top and the root of the pillar was invisible, and both the gods heard an oracle, which asked them to compete with one another. Now their argument had subdued, and they starting discussing how to find out more about this new entity. Both Brahma and Vishnu set out to locate the start and end of that pillar. Brahma turned into a goose, and flew up to find the top of the pillar, while Vishnu transformed into a boar, and dug into the earth to look for its root. The search went on for ages, but the outcome proved unsuccessful, as neither of them succeeded in their respective missions. After their unsuccessful attempts, both Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu felt humbled, and came back to their original place, only to find Lord Shiva present in front of them. They understood that Shiva's power and cosmic existence is much beyond their imagination, and in fact, it was Lord Shiva who was more powerful than both of them. The actual image of Shiva is also uniquely different from other deities. His hair is piled high on the top of the head, with the crescent tucked into it, and the river Ganges tumbling from his hair. Around his neck is a coiled serpent representing Kundalini, the spiritual energy within life. He holds a trident in his left hand, in which is bound a damru, small leather drum. He sits on a tiger skin, and on his right is a water pot. He wears the Rudraksh beads, and his whole body is smeared with ash. Shiva is also often portrayed as the supreme ascetic, with a passive and composed disposition. Sometimes he is depicted riding a bull called Nandi. Lord Shiva is known to have 3 eyes. His third eye is the key of knowledge. His third eye gives him the power to offer wisdom or destroy. The 3 eyes represent sun, moon, and fire. Shiva's wife was Parvati, often incarnated as Kali and Durga. She was in fact a reincarnation of Sati, the daughter of the god Daksha. Daksha did not approve of Sati's marriage to Shiva, and even went further and held a special sacrificial ceremony to all the gods, except Shiva. Outraged at this, Sati threw herself on the sacrificial fire. Shiva reacted to his tragedy by creating 2 demons, Veerbhadra and Rudrakali, from his hair, who wreaked havoc on the ceremony, and beheaded Daksha. The other gods appealed to Shiva to end violence, and complying he brought Daksha back to life, but with the head of goat. Sati was eventually reincarnated as Parvati in her next life, and she remarried Shiva. With Parvati, Shiva had a son, the god Ganesha. The boy was in fact created out of earth clay to keep her company, and protect her while Shiva went on his meditative wanderings. However, Shiva returned one day and finding the boy guarding the room, where Parvati was bathing, he inquired who he was. Not believing the boy was his son, and thinking him an impudent beggar, Shiva lopped of his head. Parvati rushed from her bath, and screamed that her son had been killed. Realizing his error, Shiva then sent for a new head with which to make the boy whole again, but the nearest at hand was of an elephant. So Ganesha, the elephant-headed god, was born. Other son of Shiva are Kartikeya, the god of war. In Hindu mythology, there are various forms of meditations, and different paths for yogis, but Shiva represents the art of meditation, in its absolute form. Shiva had different forms, the first being Aghara, which resides in the cremation grounds, then Ishana, most often appears as the Shiva Lingam, the third being Tat Purusha, where he is meditating, and the Maharudra, the wrathful form. Yet another form is the Natraj, where the Lord Shiva Natraja's dance implies both the destruction and the creation of the universe, and reveals the cycles of death, birth, and rebirth. Under his feet, Shiva crushed the demon of ignorance, called Apasamara Purusha, caused by forgetfulness. The fire represents the final destruction, but the dance of the Natraj is also an act of creation, which arouses dormant energies, and scatter the ashes. Another characteristics of Lord Shiva is his blue throat. When the deities and the demons churned the sea for Amrit, what came out was the pot of poison. Lord Shiva drank this, and due to the poison his throat turned blue. He holds the poison in his throat. Lord Shiva is known to have matted hair, and the river Ganga flows from his head. It is said that river Ganga was descending on the earth with full force. Lord Shiva caught river Ganga in his hair, and made many streams of it, and released it to the earth. Thus destruction was avoided. Lord Shiva is rarely worshipped in his art form. He is worshipped in the temples in the form of Shiva Lingam.